Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tiffany's TVscape, where we talk about all things Barry. Now, I am so sad to say this, but today we are talking about the season 3 finale of Barry. So no more new episodes of Barry for a while. Good thing is though, season 4 has been confirmed, so we know that that is in production. We just don't know, obviously, when season 4 will be out. We haven't gotten any type of like sneak peek or anything. We just know that HBO gave it a go. So there will be another season, so there will be much more to talk about. But in the meantime, we're just going to have to be like reeling over season 3, because what the heck was that finale? That finale was, listen, I'm trying to think of a better word than crazy, because I feel like that's just what I've been saying this whole time, but it was wild. And it was some moments were really intense and almost uncomfortable or like unsettling, to the point where I felt like I had to pause at some points, because I was like, I'm scared to see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, am I ready for this? Like, sometimes I just have to like breathe before I even press play. Because as you guys know, I watched the new episodes on HBO Max. You can watch it on HBO or HBO Max. I usually watch it on HBO Max. So I have the option to like, play and press pause, or like to go back and everything. And there's no commercial, so it's a little bit better that way. But yeah, even when I'm like watching it live, like as it airs, I'm sitting there going like, what the heck is about to happen? Because I already know y'all about to be doing something crazy. I just know, like, and this season has been super dark. I mean, there was definitely some funny moments, but it's been mainly pretty, I would say, intense, and it definitely was like a whole build up for this finale for episode 8. So yeah, it was wild. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I'm also just like, dude, like, what the heck is gonna happen next season? I don't know, like, where they're going to go. I'm really intrigued to see where they're going to go, especially with Barry, but even with the other characters as well. Um, I've seen some people saying, because I like to be on Twitter, like social media, to see what other people are saying about the episodes after it airs. And I like to hear other people's perspectives, because sometimes people point things out that I didn't notice. And so I've seen some people were saying, like, honestly, like the show could have stopped here at season 3, and it would have been fine. And I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think in terms of what happened with Barry's character, which I will get into soon. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to spoil the whole episode. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, come back and listen to my podcast later on Spotify or Anchor or YouTube. But yeah, we're going to be talking about like the whole episode, because it was insane. But I think, I don't even remember what I was saying, but yeah, it was just a lot. I say that about every episode, but this was a lot. This was probably like the most intense one since episode, was that 3 or 4? I don't remember what episode. The episode where Barry got into Sally's face and everything. I think we were all like shook from that. And so this one kind of made me feel like that episode, but it was like times 10, because it was just really unsettling. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. That's what I was saying. I don't want to, spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. So I definitely suggest watching it first and then coming back to listen to what I have to say. And by the way, like, we're celebrating episode 10 for me. This is my 10th podcast episode, you guys. Like, I'm 10 episodes in. That's crazy to me, because again, I feel like I just started this like last week, and this is 10 episodes for me. So yay to me. And yeah, like I said, we have so much more to go. Like, I'm definitely still going to be talking about season 3, and I even maybe want to go back and talk about season 1 and season 2 again. So don't worry. Even while we're waiting for season 4, I'm still going to be talking about the show, because I just love it, and I just feel like there's so much to dissect. And there's so many details with each episode that sometimes, it's bound for you to miss something. And so I like hearing what you guys have to say. And I like reading what people have to say on social media. And then, of course, listening to what like Bill Hader talks about, and like the rest of the cast, because they obviously know the show the best. And so we have lots to talk about. We have lots to talk about. Let's start with the opening scene. Let's start how we always start. Opening scene. We see Barry back on the beach. So if you guys remember last episode, in episode 7, he got poisoned by Chris's wife. And throughout that whole episode, he was pretty much, I guess you could say, hallucinating. He kind of went to this place mentally, and it ended up being like on the beach. And he was surrounded by all of these people that he's killed, in the past and everything like that. And some of the people that we've seen that he killed back in season 1 and season 2, I think mainly most people were looking at Chris, which was his friend. He shot him back in season 1. This was somebody that he had served with as well. And so he was kind of back in that place again. That's how the show started. And what was crazy was he turned around, and through like all these crowds of people, he sees Sally and Kusano, and you could tell he was like really confused, maybe even kind of like scared by that. I don't know. But then he wakes up and we see that he's in the hospital. And he kind of basically just leaves the hospital. I'm pretty sure he didn't want to stay there, considering what he does and what he's done. And he probably didn't want like the people in the hospital like really look into him, I guess. So he kind of just like bailed and left. And so I feel like that hallucination, that dream, whatever you want to call it, and him seeing Sally and Kusano in that, I feel like that kind of scared him a little bit. And I feel like that kind of I don't know if I want to say set the tone for how he was the rest of the episode, but I feel like that kind of made him a little bit more cautious, I guess, when it came to him doing certain things. Now, I'm not going to say that like it didn't change him, because he still ended up doing something really stupid at the end. But I'll talk about that more a little bit. Let's go through each main character, what they were doing, where they were at. So Kusano, he's still kind of negotiating the whole thing with his masterclass, his new show. And I think, I want to say maybe like the last couple episodes, it kind of seems like he's been out of the chaos. Like ever since Barry kind of stopped pursuing him, he kind of was just focusing on like apologizing to people, doing this show, spending time with his son and his grandson. And so I think it kind of seemed like he was like out of the clear. And then all of a sudden he gets a call from Jim Moss, which is Janice's dad, and he's kind of like pulling him back into this. It was kind of like a way to go, you're not off the hook. Like, this is not over. We still haven't caught Janice's killer, and you're still a part of this because you loved her, and he gets that call, and he clearly does not want to be, like, he clearly doesn't want to keep talking about this. He knows that Barry killed Janice, but I think he was afraid that like if I say this, like Barry might come after me again, or or just the simple fact of like I moved on and I want to focus on doing the show and taking care of my family and all this stuff. I don't want to be dragged back into this, but he was. Jim Moss don't play. Okay, Janice didn't play, so it makes sense that her dad wouldn't play either, especially because I think they said it in the previous episode, or the one, or maybe the one before that he served, I think, in the military, and then he has he has this ability to know when somebody is lying. Like, he can clearly see through that. And so the fact that he's like that, I would be scared to talk to the man too, especially if you know something and you're not saying it out loud. Yeah, I can see why Kusano was nervous talking to him. Even Fuchs was nervous talking to him in the other episode. So, So Kusano was dragged back into this again. And then Fuchs is in jail. Fuchs is in jail, or at least it looked like he was going to jail. So he was kind of being questioned again. Again, he kind of put himself in this situation because he went to Jim Moss doing the whole, oh, I know who killed your daughter, blah, 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 not knowing that Jim Moss was going to get the police involved. So now he's being questioned again. Some of those cops are still thinking that Fuchs is the one that did the whole like monastery shooting at the end of season 2. But of course, that's ridiculous. We know that Barry did that. I think Albert is really the only one that's kind of seeing clearly that like this is Barry's doing. This is not this is not Fuchs doing. This is not somebody else. This is not the Bolivians or the Chechens or anything like that. This is Barry. But they throw him in jail. Like he's getting his little you know, like those scenes where somebody's going to jail and they're like getting you your like your outfit and all that kind of stuff. He just looked so like, I don't know, he just looked so, I don't know, like confused or whatever, but it was kind of funny the way Fuchs was looking. But yeah, so he done got himself in trouble. And that's why I kept saying, I was like, Fuchs, you're out. Like, Barry is not thinking about you anymore. You don't have an obligation to him. You're not providing assignments for him to be a hitman. Like, he was out of that. He literally could have left, or he could have stayed in Chechnya and been happy. But no. He had to go back because he had to get back at Barry. He just had to get his revenge. And so I already said that was not going to turn out good for him, because you know, like, what character do you know goes out for revenge and then good things follow that? Like, it never happens, especially in TV shows. And so I was just like, man, you did yourself in with that. So I really don't feel bad for him, to be honest. And then one of the major scenes of this episode, one of the scenes that I remember when I said I had to pause, it was at this part. It was just so intense and so scary, you know, just not knowing what was going to happen. It probably sounds silly to say this, but at one point I actually kind of feared for Sally's life. Like, for a split second, I was kind of like, I know she ain't about to die. Like, is she really going to die? Let me get to it. So, remember that motorcycle game that was going after Barry? And I kept saying, like, you know, all these people that know about Barry now, there's no way he's going to get out of that. Like, somebody's going to come after him. Yeah, the guy came back. So Barry basically, like, came home after the hospital and he found Sally in his room, and Sally is like, oh, hey, remember how you said you could scare that lady for me? Actually, I want you to do that to Natalie. And so I was like, whoa, when she said that, because I'm like, that's like, you know, it's one thing to be mad at her. You know, she already got in her face and all this kind of stuff, but to like stick Barry on her, and that's supposed to be your friend. I was like, you're doing too much, Sally. You're doing too much. Do not go down that road. Do not do that. And even Barry told her. Even Barry was like, actually smart for once, and was like, no, like, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I don't think we should do this. But his logic was like, you know, once you start doing stuff like this, like, you're going to end up in the same place that I am. And I think when he said that, he meant like in that hallucination where he saw Sally and Kusino and all these people that he had killed and stuff. He was just like, no, I don't want you to go to that place where I was. And of course, Sally didn't understand what he was saying. She's just like, nah, I want to get back at this girl. You know, she's just not in a good place. And I feel for her. Like I said, I feel like her show getting canceled was really messed up, like the way that they did it, and all because of an algorithm. Like, that was really dumb. And then her friend / assistant gets a show that's very similar to her, and now she's popping off. I would feel some type of way too. And then, you know, just a ton of other stuff that's happened in her past. And I think she was just I think she was just seeing red at that point. Like, she's just like, nah, I need to like get back at this girl. So not really understanding what Barry was saying, but I think we as an audience knew that, like, he was basically saying, once you kind of go down that road, you can't really turn around. Or once you kind of cross the line, you can't uncross it, you know? And so he actually was trying to help her in that moment, but she wasn't understanding. She wasn't seeing that. So in that moment, I'm thinking like, oh God, they're going to do this and like, they're going to get caught and Natalie's going to go to the police, or it's, you know, it's going to be this whole thing. And I'm just like, this is not going to be good. But what ends up happening, you guys, is before I even say it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Streann Media. Y'all thought I was going to say it, huh? Don't worry. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to talk about it. You just don't worry. I just did that on purpose. But I did want to talk to you guys a little bit about the sponsor for my podcast, which is Streann Media. Hey, Streann. Hey, Streann. But also, I wanted to tell you guys, I don't know if you noticed, but I actually kind of changed the background. Well, I guess you could call it a border, but it's the background a little bit this time. I wanted to do something different because we're talking about season 3 finale. This is like the 10th episode of my podcast. And I was like, why not go all out and kind of like switch it up a little bit? So I'm kind of going with the little like red theme here, if you haven't noticed. And red is my favorite color, or one of my favorite colors. But the background is actually Bill as Barry. Now you can't see it because obviously my big head is in the way. But let me show you guys what I could do here. I'm gonna see if I can move this a little bit just so you can kind of see the picture. And obviously for people who are just listening to audio, you're gonna have to check out Facebook or YouTube to actually see what I'm talking about. And I definitely recommend listening to the podcast on there because I feel like it's a little bit, you get a little bit more of a full effect when you're actually watching me talk about it versus just listening to me, because I'm sure when I'm talking about it I'm making crazy faces, so maybe it's more entertaining for you guys, I don't know. But let's see if I move up. There you go, there you go, look at Barry. Now let me see if I do this too. Oh, see, you can see it that way too. So yeah, obviously you can't see like the picture in full because I'm in the way, but I just thought that was kind of cool to put like a different background up. And like I said, just kind of change the theme up a little bit. Usually when I'm picking colors, or picking backgrounds or borders, whatever you want to call it, I kind of just use what Streann Studio software has provided. Now, you didn't know that you could do that, huh? You didn't know that you could add your own background, but I'm telling you that you can because I just did it. And it's really simple. All I had to do was I just went to Google, honestly, and typed in Barry Berkman and saw what pictures came up. And I saw that one and I thought that was pretty cool. And I just saved it to, all you have to do is save it to your laptop, computer, whatever you have. In my case, it's a MacBook. I saved the picture, and then you guys can't see this because you're not the host like I am. But on my side, where I have all the features of Streann Studio, there's backgrounds, and that's where I usually choose the border. And so at the bottom, there's a little plus sign, and that's for you to pretty much just add your own background. And so I clicked on that, and then your files come up, and you can choose whatever picture you want, and then boom, there you have it. Now you got a cool background. So maybe I'll kind of play with that a little bit more, like going forward. I do like the different colors that they provide, but I feel like adding a different background sometimes will be kind of fun. And then, just to kind of show you guys like how cool the features are of Streann Studio, and to show you that you could do it too. It's really, really simple. I say this all the time. If you know how to do Zoom, if you know how to do Google Meet, all that stuff, you can figure this out as well. Because I am definitely not a techie person. And so if I can figure it out, I guarantee you can figure it out. So check out Streann Studio and check out Streann Media. If you use their platform, I suggest tagging them. You could tag me as well, just so we know that you're using it. And if you decide to create your own podcast, or if you want to stream live through Facebook like I do every week, let me know, because I want to check out your content too. I want to be able to support. So yeah, let's get back into what I was talking about. So I don't know why I'm laughing, because this is definitely not funny. But so what happens is, before they even get a chance to like figure out what they're going to do with Natalie and everything, Barry is kind of, again, he's telling her like, no, I don't think this is a good idea. He stands up, and all you see is the dude in the background. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, how does Barry not see him? Or how does he not know that somebody's behind him? But Sally, of course, sees him, and it's too late because the guy punches Barry and knocks him out. And I'm like, bruh, are you kidding me? Like, I already knew this episode was going to be crazy, but when certain things happen, I'm just like, why are y'all doing this to us? Like, why? Why? But he punches old dude, and Barry is knocked out, leaving Sally to fend for herself. And so this guy, because I kind of thought that, maybe he's just, he's probably just there for Barry and he wants to kill Barry and he might leave Sally alone. I was wrong, because he goes after her and he chokes her, like full on choking her, not just to hurt her, but to kill her. Like, I really thought for a split second that she was gonna be like choked out. I was like, I know this girl ain't about to die like that, because we already know that she used to be in an abusive relationship, not just with Barry, but I'm talking about her, her ex-husband. I'm pretty sure she knows what it feels like to get choked. I'm pretty sure she's been, physically beaten at some point. So seeing her like that was like really messed up. I was like, dang, like I know that that's scary, but just really traumatizing for her to kind of be back in that position. Like, this guy is over her and just full on choking her. And so I feel like like most of the audience, we were all like sitting there rooting for it. I was like, kick him or poke his eyes out or something, like get him off of you, girl. Cause clearly, she's not strong enough to get his hands off. But what she ends up doing is stabbing him. And so when she did that, I was like, whew, okay, yes, like you got it. But then she takes it a step further, and the guy is like, the guy is stabbed. I think he got stabbed like in the neck or something, but he's still walking around talking, but he's like bleeding out and stuff. And he walks into like a different room, and Sally follows him with the bat and just starts beating him. And I'm like, whoa, Sally girl, like you done got him off of you now. Like you stabbed him, is good. Like now it's time for you to run. But no. She didn't run. She grabs a bat and she beats him to death. You guys, to death. And you see, like, it was crazy the way it was shot, because you could see her beating him. Like you couldn't see him, but you could see her like with the bat over and over, and there's like blood like splattering and everything. But the scene was like quiet because they went into a different room. They went into, it kind of looked like a booth, kind of like if you're in a booth and it's soundproof and you can't hear, what's going on inside, you can only see. That's the way it was shot. And she beat this man to death. I was like, girl, like you ain't coming back from that. Like once you kill somebody, and again, it's that thing of like, once you cross a line, I don't think you can come back from that, or I don't think you can come back from that the same. She's not going to be the same after that. Like she killed somebody. Yes, you could say, well, it was self-defense and everything, but like, was her beating him to a pulp, was that self-defense? I feel like the part where she stabbed him definitely was, because he would have choked her out. But I really think she could have gotten out of there. And maybe it would have been messed up to leave Barry, but like whatever. But I just feel like she could have got out of there. But she beat him, honey. And, I think she was just taking out all of her anger, all of her rage on him. We kind of seen how she's been acting the past couple episodes, where she's been kind of having these moments where she blows up at people. Very reminiscent of the way Barry is. And so I just think it was like all of that, like her show getting canceled, the trauma from her abusive relationships, from both of them, really, from Barry and her ex-husband, the fact that everything is just kind of like falling apart in her career and in her life. I think all of that just came out, and she just killed him. And what Barry ended up doing was just telling her, like, hey, like, just tell yourself, I did this. Like, I did this. You didn't do this. You need to get out of here. I did this. Which I thought was kind of, I don't want to say sweet. Maybe that's not the right word, but I don't know. Like, again, I kind of feel like he was looking out for her. It's like rare to see him be selfless, I think. And so seeing him kind of do that was like kind of nice. I was kind of like, okay, Barry, like I'll give you a little pat on the back, I guess. Like you're not completely forgiven, but that was kind of, I guess, good for you to do that. Now, I don't know if he had selfish reasons for doing that, but I just feel like him kind of looking out for her, because clearly he does still care for her, even though they're broken up, even though they're broken up, I think, her and Kusina are like the two main people that he really cares about. And I guess if you want to put Fuchs in there, you could too, but obviously him and Fuchs are at odds. So I would just say Kusina and Sally are like the people that he really loves the most. And so seeing him kind of do that was like, I don't know, just kind of nice. Yeah, she left. And I was just like, I don't know, I was just really focused on the fact that like now that she's done that, I don't know how that's going to change her now. Like she was already having like these, these fits kind of where she would blow up at people. And now that she's done that, I don't know what that's going to do to her. And I'm really scared to see like if she's going to be, like how she's going to be next season, how she's going to be dealing with that and coping with that. Especially knowing that she can't tell anybody. Like the only person that knows is Barry. And so that's going to be like their secret basically. Unless she ends up telling somebody else, but I don't know. So I'm kind of sad for her, because I feel like that's going to really mess her up like mentally. And yeah, that was a big one this episode. That was a crazy one. So just prepare yourselves. If you haven't seen that scene, prepare yourself, because that was like insane. I was not expecting that. And there was a lot of maybe you could even say that about the last couple of episodes, but I kind of feel like there was a lot of like physicality in this episode too. And by that, I mean, like, obviously, when when that guy is like choking her, and then she has to get up and like beat him, and then Barry comes and like drags her to the ground to like hold her. All that, like, I'm pretty sure when you're doing a TV show, all that has to kind of be like choreographed, or at least you have to do like blocking to know, like, as an actor, where you need to stand or where you need to go and all that kind of stuff. And so I feel like usually in the episodes there's not really a lot of that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed like it was kind of more of that in this episode, which was interesting, I thought. But yeah, that was crazy. That was insane. And then my baby Hank, y'all, I have to look down my notes because just so much stuff has happened. I had to write some stuff down. But y'all, Hank, I was literally just like, as long as nothing happens to Hank, I think I'll be okay. Like, I was just like, I know y'all better not do anything to him, because everybody who watches the show loves Hank. So there would be like riots if he died or if anything really, really bad happened to him. So I was just like, y'all know better. When I say y'all, I'm talking about the people that work for Barry. Y'all know better not to come for Hank. Like, do not do anything to him. Leave him alone. The fact that he was like locked up like that for who knows how long was bad enough. Okay. Like, beyond that, no, we don't need to see him getting beat or anything like that. So I was like, whew, thank you. Nothing happened to him. But nothing, I guess you could say nothing really happened to him like physically, but again, it's that same thing with Sally where he's killed people, and now I don't know what that's going to do to him mentally. I don't know how he's going to cope with that next season. And that makes me really sad for him. And that makes me sad for both him and Hank, Hank and Cristobal as a couple. It makes me sad for them because I don't know, like, I mean, clearly they still love each other, but it's just like, it's going to be it's almost going to be like starting over and just having to like rebuild what they have and trying to find some peace. And I don't think, unfortunately, I just don't think they're going to have peace for long if they even have it at all. So what ends up happening is like he breaks free, just so I'm not sitting here like boring you guys to death going detail to detail, but he breaks free from those chains after he hears I think it's Akmal and one of the other guys that runs with Hank, but y'all, RIP to them because they got obliterated by, I think it was a panther or a tiger or something. I mean, they didn't show it, but you could hear the sounds. And so clearly it was a large animal that like attacked them. And so I definitely don't think they came out of that. They're gone for sure. So Hank had to like sit there and listen to that, which was really terrifying. And again, I just feel so bad for him. I'm just like, my baby Hank does not deserve this. Like, I know maybe he hasn't been the best person all the time, but like, he just doesn't deserve it. I'm sorry. I'm always gonna like root for him. Okay. But yeah, he breaks free and he ends up finding Cristobal getting electrocuted. So he's going through like, I guess what they call conversion therapy. And I knew as soon as they showed Elena is Cristobal's wife. I knew as soon as they showed her stepping off that plane, I was like, she is not one to be messed with. And I knew when they captured Cristobal that they was going to be doing something to him. I was like, she's going to be effing him up, okay? And that's exactly what she was doing. Now, I don't necessarily think this sounds weird, but I don't think she was electrocuting him to be like cruel and evil and to be like, ha ha ha, I'm getting back at you. I honestly feel like she thought that maybe that would fix him or something. So like he wouldn't be gay and that he wouldn't be attracted to Hank or something. I don't know. Because in the scene, there's like this guy, it's like weird. He's like dancing in front of him. And I don't know exactly what she thought that was going to do, but I feel like she was like hoping and praying that like maybe he'll still be attracted to me and maybe like he'll still love me and all that kind of stuff. And I think that you could tell that was probably the main part that really hurt her about him cheating, because it was with a man and then it was with a man that's supposed to be their enemy. And so I think that aspect of it, like she couldn't let go of that. Like she was just really hurt. And again, I would be hurt too, of course, but just the way she went about it, it was like, girl, that ain't gonna work. Like he's gay and he does not like you. He does not want you, I should say. So that was pretty messed up, like to do that to him. And Hank came in, saved the day. He shot her so fast, like it just happened like that. It was crazy, but he shot her, and the guy, and then of course he saved Cristobal. And again, it's that thing of like, what is this gonna do to them mentally? Because Hank just shot two people. I think that's the first time he's ever killed anybody in the show. If I'm not mistaken, I might have to go back and rewatch the other seasons, or you guys can let me know if I'm wrong about that. But I don't think we've ever seen Hank actually kill anybody. And so, again, that's a big deal. Like, you crossed the line, you can't come back from that. And then just with Cristobal being like electrocuted, who knows how long she's been electrocuting that man? He's probably been there for days doing that. And I mean, there's no way you're going to be electrocuted like that and not be messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how he's going to be next season. It just makes me really sad because I want them to be happy, but I don't know what that's going to do to either one of them. And I don't know if, however they cope with it, if it's going to bring them closer, if it's going to tear them apart. I don't know. I'm hoping that, at least they have a little bit of peace before things get crazy again, because we already know season 4, I don't even know anything about season 4. I already can tell you it's going to go ham. It's going to go ham, and I'm so excited for it. But yeah, I'm glad that Cristobal didn't die, because I think a lot of people were thinking that he was going to die. We were kind of just going like, somebody's going to die in the finale, and it's probably going to be Cristobal or Albert, and neither one of them died. So that was great. But definitely he was tortured. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm really, I guess, interested to see what, like what his storyline or what their storyline will be as a couple next season. And yeah, I'm just so glad nothing happened to Hank. I know I keep saying that, but like, he's clearly my favorite character, and I'm just like, just seeing him locked up like that was like really sad, and seeing him like cry and everything, and like he was like shaking, and I was like, my baby, if I could just reach through and save you, I would have. But yeah, after all that stuff with Sally and Barry and that motorcycle guy happens, so we see her leave. She not just leaves the house, but she leaves the state. Like, she goes back to Joplin, which is her hometown. And again, don't know what's gonna happen next season. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. Like, I'm assuming she'll eventually come back to LA, but again, don't know what she's going to be like and what that's going to do to her. So, there's a lot of stuff. I guess you could say there's kind of been a lot of things that kind of went left unanswered, or we're still kind of wondering, what's going to happen there. And so I feel like I kind of feel like they did it on purpose to set up maybe for the next season. I don't know. And that's another reason why, too, where I felt like if they really ended the whole show just right there would still be so many things. I'm like, well, what about Sally? Like, does she ever come back? Like, how is she handling this? What about Hank and Cristobal and all this stuff? Like, so I'm glad that we're getting another season, because I feel like there's still so much more to be explored with each character, not just Barry, but like the whole cast. And then let's talk about the other scene that really got me. I was like, yo, this show is about to put me into therapy. And I'm billing HBO. I'm billing Bill Hader, Alec Berg, anybody else that wrote on the show. You're getting a bill for all of our, like, everybody that watches the show is like, I need therapy now, because it's just so intense. Okay, so remember how in the last episode it ended with Albert grabbing his gun. So we already knew he's going after Barry, because he's clearly, made the connection that these killings, this is Barry. This is not, the Chechens or the Bolivians or Fuchs or any of these other people that the cops are trying to say. He's like, no, this is Barry. And so he goes after him, and I'm thinking that he was just gonna like go and, I don't know, like just shoot him straight up. Like, I didn't know what he was gonna do. But he finds him burying, what's crazy is that he finds him burying the guy that Sally killed. And of course it looks like he killed him, and now he's just burying him. And I'm like, this is like probably the one time that he actually didn't kill somebody, but it looks like he did. So unfortunately he found him doing that. And, he brought his gun out and he was yelling at him. But what was really, I guess, like the most like intense part about it to me was that he was really emphasizing Chris's death, not just saying, why are you a hitman? Why do you do this? He was like, why did you kill Chris? Why why him? Like, he was innocent, he was sweet, he looked up to you, like he was our friend. Why would you do that to Chris? And he was just like demanding like an answer, like why would you do this? And I know Barry had to feel that. I know that hit him right in the gut, because after he killed Chris in season 1, like clearly there was guilt there. Like if you haven't seen season 1, you have to go back and watch, because I feel like it would be better for you to see it than for me to explain. But he has a scene where he kind of like breaks down a little bit, and you could tell he's trying to get like, like the memory of shooting Chris out of his head and how his wife would react and all this stuff. And it really messes with him. And I feel like with a lot of the other kills that he did, there was no emotional attachment there. There was nothing there. It was just a job for him. But with Chris, it was like, this is somebody I knew, and I shot him. And he didn't even shoot him for a good reason. He shot him just because he didn't want to get caught. He just shot him because he's selfish. And he's just so focused on his own self-preservation that it's like he doesn't really care who he takes out as long as he's okay. And so clearly he was feeling the guilt from that. So the fact that Albert was like going in, like, why did you kill Chris? Why did you do this to Bo? And I was just like, I was like, this is too much. This is too much. So when he was doing that, I didn't feel like he was going to shoot him, even though he had the gun aiming at him the whole time. But it was just still, it was a lot. It was a lot. And Barry just has like a full like emotional breakdown, like on his knees, cowering. Did I say that right? You guys know what I mean. But he was like shaking. He was like a child, like a little child, like crumpled up and just screaming. And I think that was just really like, I don't even know what the word is, but that was just really something to see, because I think we're so used, like as an audience, we're so used to seeing Barry just be very nonchalant about everything, even killing people. He just does it and then that's it. And it's whatever to him. And so to see him scared like that and to be like, just breaking down was like really, it was sad. I'm not gonna lie, it was sad. And I think it's not even sympathy for him, because I don't feel bad. Like he brought all this on himself, but it's more so pity, I think, because it's just like, dang, like you're just seeing how messed up he really is. Like he's really messed up. Like if you thought he was messed up in season 1 and season 2, you see it very clearly in season 3. And you're just like, dang, this guy needs help. Like he just really needs help, man. And yeah, that scene, I just felt pity, but it was really intense though. But even though I knew like at some point I was like, Albert's not going to shoot him, but just the fact that he was just like, whoa, he was like, it was like digging a knife into his stomach deeper and deeper, the more he kept yelling about Chris and stuff, like why he killed him and why he did it. And I was just like, dang, like this is horrible. Yo, this is horrible. But what he basically ends up doing is just like telling him, you need to stop this. You need to stop this. And the significance of that is he goes, you need to stop this. And he says, starting now. And if you've watched the show from the very beginning, you know that Barry, I don't think he said it this season, but he used to always say that. He used to go, like, okay, I'm going to stop this starting now. And then we knew, like, obviously he wasn't going to actually stop, but he's always kind of said that. And so for him to say that, I feel like they kind of brought everything around full circle. And then the episode is titled Starting Now too. So that was definitely like, wow, like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, and what's crazy about all of this is that Albert, he could have easily shot him. He could have taken him into custody. He could have done a lot. He's a detective. And he lets him go. He says, like, I have a daughter, and had you not saved my life, she wouldn't be here. She wouldn't even be born. She wouldn't exist. And he basically tells him, like, I've seen evil and you're not evil. Now, I don't know about that, because you have to remember Albert seen him, the last time he's seen him, like they were all in the military and all that stuff. So he hasn't seen him since then. And so I feel like he's kind of just saying that because he saved his life. So to him, it's like, if you were this evil person, you wouldn't have saved my life like that. So, that's the way I guess Albert sees it. And so he lets him go. And the thing that's so frustrating and crazy about this is that he lets him go. And again, it's like you're given an opportunity. Same thing with Fuchs. You're given an opportunity to like go and do something else with your life. Like you're out of this. You could be out of this if you wanted to. But what does Barry do? He gets a call from Cousineau. And Kusino, after he's spoken with like Jim Moss and everything, and Jim Moss, oof, he went in on Kusino, like he was in his face. That was another intense moment too. But basically, Jim Moss he's a smart guy. He knows that Barry did this. He knows that that Kusino was not telling the truth. And so Barry gets a call and he's just like, yeah, he knows everything and I don't know what to do. And so Barry comes to Kusino and he sees that he has a gun and clearly whatever you're going to do, it's not good. So he's trying to stop him. And again, it's kind of one of those moments where I felt like he was kind of being selfless, like we're, I guess, trying to be, one of those rare moments where he was actually kind of looking out for somebody else, somebody that he cares about. And he was just like, no, like, don't do this. Like, give me the gun. I'll go in there. You get out of here. And Kusino was just like, no, like begging him, like, no, don't go in there. Don't do it. Blah, blah, blah. Don't, like, he knows everything. Don't, and, of course, Barry doesn't listen. And he goes in there with the gun, intending to kill Jim. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, you didn't need to go in there to try to do that. Like, you got off. Like, Albert let you go. You could have left. But anyway, he goes in the house and they show Jim, the camera is just showing his back. So I'm like, there's no way he doesn't know that Barry is in the house. Like, there's no way he does not know that somebody is in his house, because this guy is smart and this guy served in the military. This guy, I mean, he has this like innate ability to be able to know when people are lying. Like, I don't buy it. I'm like, something's not right here. I'm just like, there ain't no way Barry gonna be able to shoot him and then that's it. So he comes up behind him and he aims the gun at him, and lo and behold, the cops come out and they're telling Barry to like put your gun down, da, 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 like yelling at him and all this stuff. And Barry turns and he looks at Kusino, and Kusino is just like straight face, and it clicks that, oh, this was a setup. Kusino set him up. So that whole like act he did before him when he was like, oh, don't go in there. Yeah, he did that on purpose because he knew Barry was going to go in there and try to shoot him, and that he was going to get caught. So I was like, oh my God. Like, dang, he got him. I was like, Kusino. I was like, he got him good though. Like, I didn't even see that coming. Honestly, you guys can let me know if you were surprised by that. I was surprised. It's not like I didn't think he had it in him, but I just didn't see it going that way. Like, I kind of felt like something was fishy because, again, I was like, there's no way Jim Moss does not know that somebody's in his house. But the fact that Kusino was a part of the setup, or that he set it up, I was like, yo, this show is crazy. And like Barry's face, heartbroken. Like, you could see the moment where it clicks for him, and he's just looking at like Kusino like how could you do this to me? Like, I thought you loved me. I thought you cared about me. And Kusino is just like, nah, player, time for you to go. You getting locked up. Like, I was like, oh my God, this show is insane. And so they handcuff him and they take him away, and he's looking at Kusino just like, oh my God, like, you could tell even Barry was shocked by it. So I was just like, dang, like, this is insane. Like, I didn't see that coming. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know how you felt about it. I thought that was like a really good ending, I guess. And like a good twist, I should say. So I was just like, oh my God. I was like, they finally got him. Like, he's finally arrested and in custody. Now, I think, what was that? He was close to it in season 2. After, I think, was this after no, this was after they found Janice's body. And so he went in for like questioning and stuff like that back then, but they had let him go. But yeah, I'm like, he finally is in handcuffs. He's arrested. I'm like, boy, you going to prison with Fuchs. But we all know, obviously, that's not going to be the end because it's another season. So something else is going to happen. He's probably going to, I don't know. He's probably going to try to get out of it some kind of way. Who knows? But yeah, that was a good twist. I did not see that coming at all. And the last shot of the episode is Jim Moss outside, and he's kind of just looking forward. And I think, I guess you can interpret that in different ways, but it kind of seemed like I think he was kind of just like, I mean, he doesn't say anything, but it's kind of that feeling of, I caught the bad guy, I got this guy who killed my daughter, and now, like, what else is there left to do? There's nothing to do. Like, she's gone, she's not coming back, and I think, like, if somebody were to kill somebody you cared about, for until you catch that person, that's probably going to be like the only thing on your mind. Like, we need to get this person. We need to get this person. That's going to kind of take up your whole world. And I feel like once you catch the person, then it's just like, now what? Because I did that. Now what? There's nothing left to do. And I think maybe he's kind of feeling that now, that, like, actually catching him maybe didn't make him feel that much better, because Janice is still gone, she's not coming back. And so I think it was just kind of like reality seeping in for him, where he's kind of just standing there like, I did it, but it probably doesn't really feel that good, because, like I said, it's still sad that she's gone. So I feel for him, but yeah, that was a crazy ending. You guys got to let me know how you feel about it. Do y'all feel bad for Barry? Because I don't. I thought it was funny. I was like, that's what you get. Like, you need to get arrested. Now, again, he's probably not going to stay in prison. Something's going to happen next season, but it's just funny to kind of see him getting like his, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially from Cousineau. Like, this is, again, the one person besides Sally that he really loves and really cares about, in his own twisted way, of course. But the one person that he really cares about set him up, and then Sally dipped. She's gone. So it's like, who's on your side now, Barry? Nobody's on your side. I think maybe Hank would be on his side, but I feel like because Hank is trying to take care of Cristobal and he's so wrapped up in that, I don't know if he's going to really try to help him that much. So I kind of feel like he's on his own now, which we haven't really seen that before. Even from the very beginning, he always had Fuchs. And then in season 2, he kind of had like the whole acting class, and like he was with Sally and all this stuff. And now he doesn't have any of that anymore. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do next season, specifically with Barry, but then also just like with the rest of the characters, like, because, there's going to come a point where they're going to intersect again. So it's going to be crazy. Whatever happens, I already know it's going to be crazy. I'm calling it. They deserve all the Emmys in the world. Everybody that's a part of Barry deserves all the awards, because it's crazy. This was an insane season. And it's like super well written and fantastic directing and cinematography and fantastic acting from everybody. It was really, really good. It's hard for me to say if this is my favorite season or not, because there's so much stuff that happened, I feel like, in season 1 that I probably don't remember. So maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch. But this was definitely like the most like intense season for sure. So if you like intense, dramatic TV, check out Barry, y'all, because I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I probably said that like 100 times now, but it was. So yeah, I think that's pretty much most of the episode. If you have not seen it, please go watch it. Tell me what you think. You can catch me on Twitter. My username is Prima Donna Girls. Girls is spelled with a U, so Gurls. That's usually where I'm talking about Barry. And again, I'll still be talking about the show even though the season is over. Because I have a lot of like Barry mutuals and people that are fans of Bill Hader. So we'll talk about like the show and maybe like our theories, what we think is going to happen. I would love to know what you think as well. So you can hit me up on Twitter or Facebook as well. And of course I'll respond. And yeah, let's chat about it. If you want to be on my podcast, just let me know and we can get you on and we can talk about the show and we can do our little chitty chat and yeah. And you can tell me, what you thought about this whole season and maybe like what your favorite episode is, what your favorite scene is, who your favorite character is, all that good stuff. I want to know all of that. I like talking about all that stuff because I'm obviously such a geek for TV and for this show specifically. So I'm going to wrap it up there. But before I go, I did want to remind you guys that this podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. So shout out to them. Thank you for sponsoring my podcast. Without them, I would not have this podcast, and I definitely wouldn't have this set up the way I do. You could check out how to use their Streann Studio at studio.streann.com. It's really simple to use. All you need to do is put in your email. They send you a login code and then you're in. So again, if you want to create your own content, if you're thinking about starting your own podcast, if you want to live stream or anything like that, I definitely recommend using Streann Studio because it's really simple and easy to use. And yeah, you don't have to create an account. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. You have all these little cool features on the side that you get to use. It's some of the stuff that I've been showing you is definitely part of the features, and there's plenty of other things too that I haven't even gotten around to yet. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there because I feel like I've been talking for a really, really long time. This episode is a little bit longer just because so much stuff happened in the finale, and yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. But before I go, I'm gonna tell you guys that I have a guest coming on next week. I'm not going to say who it is. You're just going to have to tune in to watch and to listen. And I will see you guys next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, just like I always am. We're still going to be talking about Barry. We're still going to be going over season 3. If you guys want me to kind of go back and revisit season 1 and season 2, I could do that. I mean, I kind of did that in the beginning of my podcast, but I definitely don't mind going back and talking about old episodes or old scenes because, like I said, I love the show. And yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with that. And again, I'll see you next week with a special someone, and you'll see when you tune in. Okay, bye, guys.